"Don't be sad, mister. You can have my mom," said the little child to the billionaire who sits alone on a frozen bench on Christmas Eve, tears threatening to fall. What happens next will change all three of their lives forever. 1 week before Christmas, while the city celebrated with glowing decorations and festive music, Marcus Chen sat isolated beside a frozen lake, the CEO of a tech empire surrounded by success but drowning in loneliness. His expensive leather gloves couldn't stop the cold. Marcus had built everything from nothing. No family, no connections, just determination. He'd spent his childhood in group homes, waiting on Christmas Eves for someone to choose him. No one ever did. Now, decades later and worth billions, he still felt like that forgotten 9-year-old boy. Then he heard laughter. A woman with golden hair tied simply back walked the snowy path with a small boy bundled in a puffy jacket. Sophia Hart and her son, Tommy, carried a paper bag filled with homemade cookies, stopping to share them with anyone who looked like they needed warmth. Tommy's small voice cut through the cold air. "Mama, that man looks sad." Before Sophia could stop him, the boy approached Marcus with the pure fearlessness of childhood. "Don't be sad, mister," said Tommy simply. "You can have my mama. She makes everyone feel better." Sophia apologized for her son's boldness, but she didn't pull him away. Instead, she reached into her bag and offered Marcus a cookie wrapped in wax paper. "Merry Christmas," she said with a gentle smile. "It's sweeter than necessary, just like Tommy here." For the first time in longer than he could remember, someone had seen him. Not the CEO, not the success story, just a person who needed kindness. Marcus whispered thank you, his voice breaking slightly. Before Sophia could lead Tommy home, Marcus found his voice. "Is there a place nearby where I could buy you both a hot chocolate?" Tommy's enthusiastic yes made the decision for them. In that small cafe, something shifted. Tommy chattered about their 3-foot Christmas tree, decorated with real candy canes and a glitter star he'd made himself. Sophia poured hot chocolate from her thermos, her movements careful and nurturing. Marcus found himself captivated not by Sophia's appearance, but by her presence. The way she gave what little she had and made it enough. The steadiness in her voice when she said, "Every tree counts as long as someone looks at it with belief." For the first time in longer than he could remember, Marcus smiled. Not his practiced boardroom smile, but something real, small, fragile, and absolutely true. Days later, while working late on a children's theater project, Sophia pulled out old storage boxes from her mother, a former social worker who'd provided temporary foster care. Inside one yellowed folder, she found a photograph that made time stand still. Memory crashed over her like a wave. She'd been 9 that winter when her mother brought home a quiet boy who clutched a red scarf and stared out windows. Young Sophia had drawn him a wobbly reindeer on scrap paper and slipped it under his door. The next morning, she found it on his suitcase. When he left, he hugged her tight and cried without speaking. The man on the park bench was that same boy. Marcus Chen had grown up to build empires, but his eyes still held that unbearable loneliness. 2 days later, Sophia invited Marcus for coffee. She brought the folder. When she asked if he remembered a small house in December 1999, his careful composure crumbled. "I kept that drawing," Marcus whispered, voice catching. "Folded it so many times it tore. When I lost it moving apartments, I searched everywhere. It was the only thing that made me feel like I wasn't invisible." Sophia smiled gently.
You told me once that I deserved a Christmas. I never forgot that." Marcus looked at her, really looked, and for the first time someone had given back a piece of his childhood he thought was lost forever. Sophia's children's theater project launched to applause and joy. But success bred jealousy. An anonymous blog post accused her of plagiarism, complete with manipulated screenshots and out-of-context comparisons. The post went viral. Sponsors froze funding. Collaborators disappeared overnight. Sophia didn't defend herself publicly. She simply returned to work, quietly preparing materials for the children coming the next day. Her hands trembled slightly as she stapled papers together, but she refused to spiral. Meanwhile, young Tommy sat in Marcus's office, having delivered a homemade holiday card. Casually, he mentioned, "Did you know people are saying Mama stole her play? But she would never. She even tells me not to take crayons from school if they're not mine." Marcus froze. Something protective and fierce ignited inside him. Within 24 hours, he'd mobilized his legal team. Documents proving Sophia's original work appeared online, time-stamped and witnessed. The anonymous blogger was unmasked. A lawsuit was filed. When sponsors reinstated funding with apologies, Sophia called Marcus. Her voice was soft, almost breaking. "You did something, didn't you?" His response was simple. "I did what anyone should for someone who deserves better." "I'm not used to being protected," Sophia whispered. Marcus paused, memories flooding back. "I used to say that too. But no one should get used to being alone." Then came the worst day. After cruel questions at school about his missing father, Tommy disappeared. Sophia returned home to emptiness and panic. She searched everywhere, called everyone, found nothing.
Without thinking, she called Marcus. "Tommy's gone," she gasped through tears. "I don't know where he is." His response was immediate. "I think I know where he went." The park was empty except for one small figure. Tommy sat curled on the same bench where everything began, his thin coat inadequate against the cold, his wool hat slipping over one eye. "Why did you come here?" Marcus asked gently, sitting beside the boy. Tommy's voice cracked. "I wanted to see if someone still waited here. You were sad that day. I thought maybe if I waited too, someone would come for me." Marcus remembered being Tommy's age, waiting outside in the cold, watching other children get chosen, wondering what made him unworthy. He pulled Tommy into his arms, wrapping his coat around them both. "I'm here," he said, voice thick with emotion, "and your mother's looking everywhere for you. Let's go home." Sophia dropped to her knees the moment the door opened, arms reaching for her son. Tommy ran to her, both crying, holding each other tight. Marcus stood in the doorway watching them, the weight of his own past finally finding somewhere to land. Tommy looked up at Marcus through tears. "You came for me." Marcus crouched beside them both, voice steady and sure. "Always." On Christmas Eve, Sophia and Tommy's apartment smelled of cinnamon and oranges. Their miniature tree leaned slightly in the corner, decorated with handmade ornaments and love. Then the doorbell rang. Marcus stood at the door, snow dusting his coat, holding a small pine tree already wrapped with lights. His mismatched gloves and uncertain expression made him look vulnerable, human. "He thought," he said, clearing his throat, "maybe your tree could use reinforcement." Then Tommy said the words that changed everything. "Mister, maybe you don't borrow anymore? Just stay." They spent the evening decorating both trees. Tommy narrated every ornament's story while Marcus listened with genuine interest. Sophia made cocoa, and they sat close together, shoulders almost touching, warmth radiating not from the heater,
but from presence itself. When Tommy yawned under his blanket and whispered, "This is the best Christmas ever," neither adult spoke. Outside, snow fell endlessly. Inside, something profound settled into place. A man who once sat alone with cold coffee now sat beside a boy who offered him belonging, and a woman who never asked why he stayed, only made space when he did. Borrowing had quietly become staying. The auditorium filled with families for Sophia's Christmas showcase. The final act, written and directed by her, starred Tommy in a story about a boy searching for light in darkness. Marcus sat near the front, program folded in his hands, surrounded by strangers, yet feeling comfort. Backstage, Sophia adjusted costumes and whispered encouragements, her eyes bright and alive. Tommy took center stage under a single spotlight. His small voice carried clearly through the hushed room. "When you're lost in the dark, you can borrow someone's light until yours shines again." Every adult in that room stilled. Some reached for tissues. Marcus sat unmoving, watching the boy whose words had cut through every defense he'd spent years building. He turned his gaze to the wings where Sophia stood, watching, arms wrapped gently across her chest, radiant with quiet strength. From that first moment on the snow-covered bench to the night she opened her door, Sophia had never pushed, never asked for more. She had simply stood still and let him see. The applause thundered, but Marcus remained seated, a silent vow forming inside him. That light, once borrowed, would never be taken for granted again. Later, they returned to the park, the same bench, weathered and familiar. Sophia brushed off the snow and sat. Tommy climbed up beside her. Marcus followed. Sophia poured cocoa from her thermos into 3 mismatched cups. Tommy pulled out a drawing from his coat, 3 stick figures on a bench beneath twinkling lights. "That's you," he pointed to the sad-eyed figure, "and that's Mama and me, the first time we met." "I'm glad you borrowed her that day," Tommy said, leaning against Marcus's arm. Sophia looked at them both, her smile soft and knowing. Marcus reached over and took her hand. Her fingers curled into his palm without hesitation. Marcus turned to Tommy. "You were right, you know, that day when you said I could borrow your mother." He looked at Sophia, his voice quiet but steady. "I'm not borrowing anymore. I'm staying." Sophia didn't reply. She only smiled, leaned her head against his shoulder, and let warmth fill the quiet space where loneliness used to live. Under soft snow and string lights, with cocoa warming their hands and history behind them, they sat together. A man who once sat on a bench and found nothing, a woman who gave without asking for anything in return, and a little boy who saw sadness and offered hope. Not perfect, but whole. Sometimes the family we need finds us in the most unexpected moments. Sometimes healing begins with a simple offer of kindness from a child who sees what adults have forgotten, that no one should be alone at Christmas.
For more videos, please subscribe, like, and comment.